And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the Bottom Line. Not nearly as cold this morning. We're sitting around freezing, cloudy out there. We've still got snow laying around, and I'm wondering, do we have snow laying around for a reason? There's a chance we'll get another little dose of winter weather on Friday and Saturday. We'll kind of have to wait and see how that plays out. But glad to have you with us this morning. Juju and I got educated last night. We had Dr. Amy Wood, who is the faculty representative to the NCAA. She was on the committee and voted on the new Constitution and those kind of things. Mm-hmm. And we learned some things like out of that big NCAA budget, Division II gets like 3.81%, and Division III gets 2 point something. I mean, minuscule,
right,
compared to what the pie is. But she said the biggest money they have coming in is the tournament, because everything else is privately negotiated with the leagues and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And we talked to her a little bit about they give autonomy, to the conferences and the divisions now. And she said that was kind of done so that they can agree as a group on how to manage NIL and some of these other things that they've got. Right. And one of the things that I thought was interesting that she said, inside the NCAA Constitution now, it does not mention amateurism. That just word's
gone.
Well, and I told her it's like a third of what it used to be, and it was, they did things every year and they added things and tweaked things, but it's like in your house, they never took anything out of it. My biggest complaint around my house is not what my crowd buys or what we have. Just get rid of stuff. If you buy something, get rid of something, because if you don't, it just continues to pile up. And that's basically what happened to the Constitution of the NCAA, and it had no bearings. There was stuff that needed to be addressed and just wasn't addressed. It just stayed there. So she said that the Constitution basically just gives you bumpers and a framework, and then they apply legislation to it as far as rules and how they handle it and stuff. But it was an interesting thing, and I really appreciate her coming on. I just saw this. Danny Poole posted that Fred Hoover, we called him Dr. Hoover when I was there. He was the head trainer when I was at Clemson, has earned a place in the South Carolina Hall of Fame class. So we'll need to get I'll need to get LaVon Kirkland back on, because LaVon is part of that, of forming that South Carolina Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And so Dr. Hoover, I want to say Dr. Hoover has passed away. I'm going to look here and see if it shows me. He was there from 59 to 98.
Golly.
He served with the legendary Frank Howard. Began working the sidelines 7 years prior to the existence of Howard's Rock. Worked over 446 consecutive games and was estimated to have supervised 4,500 Clemson football practices. 7 head coaches, 11 ACC championship teams, 16 bowls, 38 All-Americans, 16 NFL All-Pro and first-round picks, and 110 NFL players. He ran down the hill 207 times without falling even once. So Dr. Hoover going in, and I'm still looking.
Oh, wait, it says – God, I can't see the board. It says something about I can't read it.
He was inducted into the Clemson Athletic Hall of Fame in '82. I'll find it somewhere. But if you want more information, you can go to scahof.com. And there's some great folks in that South Carolina Hall of Fame. Of course, there's a lot of folks from my group that are really that I had the pleasure of playing with or knowing personally, which was really nice. And I'm able to say that. So anyway, that's our first story for the day. I do want to get your take on the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the first thing on the Green Bay game, I went to sleep because I didn't think it would be a game. That was not one that I thought would happen.
Yeah.
But I guess my biggest thing is to use something that you say all the time. It almost made me feel like Green Bay was a team of style and not substance.
Yeah, a lot of style.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they, throughout the year, there were times they showed, tremendous amount of substance.
Mm-hmm.
But the one thing that shows up in playoff football is not your strengths but your weaknesses.
Yes.
Okay, and I think one thing that we can learn from that game and watching Jimmy G and Rodgers is Jimmy G is a little bit more steady than most people give him credit for. We hear a lot of talk about Trey Lance is next, Jimmy G. He's going to the
Somebody's going to get a prize if they let him go.
He's going to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is not, and guess who else isn't? Tom Brady.
I'm not giving up on my Rams yet.
I'm not. The Rams are very likely going to win. But my point is Jimmy G made it to the Final Four.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And there wasn't a lot of talk about Jimmy G. There was all talk about first-round pick Trey Lance.
And the other player that's the surprising to me of all of them, and it's because he's not flashy, he's just solid, is Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
When you take a quarterback that gets sacked 9 times in a game and doesn't lose his composure and comes back and wills his team to a win, that's saying something.
Yeah.
And the young guns that are out there as quarterbacks, to borrow something from Link that he said last night, he posted, he said, well, more people will watch the Super Bowl because it doesn't involve Brady, it doesn't involve the Cowboys. There's not as much interest. When you got outside the Northeast, there was not a lot of interest in the Patriots like there are some other teams. But the thing about it is you got teams now with young guns.
Yeah.
And it makes it interesting and fun to watch again.
Yeah, it does. And, the thing with Joe Burrow, remember, he's just in a year and a half of playing. He's not even in 2 full seasons because he was hurt.
Yeah.
So there's still not a lot of film on him. And the point to that is he will continue to make plays because he doesn't do foolish things with the football.
Mm-hmm.
But when pressure and other things, like you talked about the sacks and all these things, as other things come to fruition and more schemes are planted against, that's where he's really going to have to be even more disciplined, right, going into next year and the year after. Next year is really going to be a sophomore, season instead of this year, okay? So there's going to be some things that he's going to have to adjust because there's going to be a tremendous amount of adjustments made on him. Okay,
a lot of tape.
Yeah, and he, right now he's, obviously playing really well at a high level. That's what you're supposed to do. He looks more to be a playmaker and a distributor instead of just a distributor. Right? He's able to, get in and out, get some balls out pretty quick, sprint one way, whatever. Leadership qualities are off the chart. We know that.
Which is amazing that young into a franchise in the NFL.
I think because he's a serious person. He seems to be a genuine person.
Well, he's able to deliver on what he does.
Right, and his work ethic, backs that up. He's got a lot of substance, and he's not big into style. Now he said some things, at the press conference on maybe Sunday. Talking about, well, we're a good team too, so, they need to be – I guess he's talking about –
He didn't like being an underdog.
He's talking about the underdog. That's fine, but he's a year and a half in the league. So, you got to –
And it is the Bengals.
Yeah, you got to kind of – this is not LSU, okay? And, I certainly hope that he has a great game and plays well, but there's some learning that's going to go on along this. I like the fact that he – is confident.
But he embraces it all good and bad. That's the other thing.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
He didn't whine,
Nope.
When he was not playing.
Nope.
What's amazing to me is there's 1 or 2 first-round picks maybe that were in front of him. Is that right? At Ohio State, is that right? It's Haskins and Fields.
That's right.
Is that right?
I believe that's right.
Yeah, and to see his growth and development and where he is today versus where those 2 are, there's some –
because all of those are dysfunctional organizations.
Well, I mean,
based on past.
So was Cincinnati to some degree.
That's what I'm saying. They were all 3 of those.
Yes. And we'll just see. Again, I don't want to get too hyped up over this, but he brings a lot of promise to the league.
Well,
and I'm anxiously waiting.
And I'm
what
good
he can
with
do.
any of the 4 teams that are left.
Mm-hmm.
I was good with any of the 8 teams that we started with.
Yeah,
I mean,
football.
It was great football all weekend long.
It's best I've seen
for that long a period of time, game after game.
Yeah.
Richie, good morning. Stephen, good morning. Richie said my boy Herm is assembling an NFL staff at Arizona State. Hired Brian Billick as an offensive analyst and advisor to the head coach.
Yeah.
That's how you get players.
Yeah.
They want that inroad into the NFL. Yeah. Richie said he guessed he would be pulling for the Rams. It's good to see Stafford getting a shot after being in the Detroit dungeon. I agree, and I had the Rams and the Chargers going. The Chargers let me down. I still think they've got a top-tier quarterback.
Yeah.
And Justin Herbert.
Oh, yeah.
Milton says Mahomes is a magician. There is no doubt about that. 13 seconds is too much time, that's a problem.
I think it's definitely Patrick. Okay, definitely. But you got to remember who's steering that ship.
Oh, I know, Andy Reid.
Yeah. Now, I'm not taking away from that comment.
But the problem
exactly
is, I mean,
right.
what it is Andy Reid can put together things that Patrick can deliver and do.
I think that's where the creativity comes from.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Andy Reid, you know, as long as he's been coaching, as smart as he is, you know, it's like he doesn't put any restrictions on him.
I think
a learning process.
I think Andy will give a player as much as they can handle. You know what I'm saying?
Where do you think the underhand pass came from? You think Mahomes just made it up, or do you think Andy Reid?
No, I think he made it up.
Andy says, you know what? You can run this way and then shove it underhand back this way and be more accurate than throwing across your body when you go underhand. They do a lot of inside screen passes.
But he does it.
You know, it's crazy.
But he does it.
Yeah, and it's wonderful.
Yeah. Honey, what are you saying? I don't look that good? Ford's all dressed up? What am I, just yard potatoes here? Wow. At least I know where you stand. I don't have clothes like that.
Thank you, Kim.
I don't have clothes like that. Richie said he'd like to see overtime in the NFL get changed to a full quarter, if only for the playoffs. Here's I thought Cowherd had a great idea yesterday, and it's one of those things. One of the things that is wrong with overtime. You see teams getting too comfortable. Well, I don't think we can get this done. Let's just play for overtime and we'll regroup. You don't put any emphasis on getting it done now. He said he would like to see the one thing he'd like to see them get away from the coin toss. The visiting team gets the option because the home team should have got it done because they were at home. They get the home crowd behind them. I don't like that either. I don't like the way it is, but I don't know of a great way to fix it.
Well,
stupid. You know what Andrew said last night? I almost reached over and slapped him.
What?
Well, they need to have field goals and back them up 5 yards.
Oh, he's talking about the kickoff for soccer.
Yeah, I'm like, are you kidding me?
So let me tell you my take on this, and I've listened to a lot of people and a lot of comments and read and things like that. And when I get through, I'm gonna tell you why I've gotten to where I've gotten. The issue with overtime in the regular season is it's a long season, and so they're trying to get the game over without, major injury, and whoever scores, you know how it is. They've changed things a little bit, but that's how it goes. In playoff football, because so much is on the line, when both teams don't have equal opportunity in the overtime like they have during the game, then I think that's where, the greatest misfortune of all this comes from. And it's real easy to say, well, you got to get it done. So in baseball, there's no clock. You have a top and a bottom inning, okay? In basketball, there is a clock. When they go to overtime, they keep playing overtimes until, right? NBA too. Okay, why is it different in NFL football? The reason I believe it's different is I believe that the Players Association has some input on this from an injury and health standpoint of the players. The longer you play, the tireder you are, the more apt you are and susceptible to injury. So I think that's where some of this – I do not know that. I just think that based on, the way things work.
Well, then let me ask you this. Let me roll back here. Just a couple of comments. Yeah, Andrew. I'm getting you, Andrew. Milton says that Mahomes is a shortstop playing quarterback.
Yeah, and a center fielder and a catcher.
And Richie said that underhand pass looks like a quick shovel pass to second base trying to turn a double play.
That's right.
Yeah. My wife said I wear the same thing all the time. I am impressed with the collared Clemson shirt versus the same old T-shirt and sweatshirt. You knew it when you married me. I am who I am. Okay? Give me a drawer. I've got a wardrobe for life. Nothing's required.
It's kind of like Beth told Rip, God, I love you. She said, Beth, I don't care about that wardrobe over there. I got 5 pair of jeans.
Yeah.
Come on, that's it.
That's it.
She said, God, I love you.
Andrew said he did about reach over there and slap me. He saw that championship belt laying over there and realized he didn't want to see me walk out the door with it on my shoulder. Anytime you want to go, big boy.
Oh, my God.
Anytime you want to go. Yes, Stephen, I will be glad to bring the belt on the golf trip. I'll be glad to bring the belt
along
on the
with
golf
the
trip.
Pineapple Cup trophy.
Yeah, and we will have some golf shirts too.
Now
I'm so confused. I don't even know where I'm at now. When we were talking about realistic stuff, when you think about overtime, I honestly would not have a problem if that's the problem is the player issue and safety and stuff. Then let's go back to no overtime in the regular season.
Yeah, no,
and because that half game could keep you out of the playoffs.
Well, and two, I think that that
I don't like it because it's kissing your sister.
Unfortunately, I think that betting has, gambling, betting, whatever, has something to do with this. Okay, and you're right, wrong, or different. It is what it is. I'm not, in any way, but I really would have liked to have seen, let's just say, 10 minutes of football. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And after Mahomes took him down and scored, Josh Allen has the opportunity for the shootout.
Mm-hmm.
I think if football is going to get back to where it was with the viewership, they've got to make sure that they are providing everything they can for the fan base, which they did this weekend with the exception of the overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't ask for anything more as a football fan.
Here's my problem. Well,
what was going on?
Let me take a break. And then I'll give you my problem. I always have problems because that's just who I am. But I'll give you my problem with the overtime and how I think we can fix it and just be a little creative and why it's a problem.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stifel Nicholas can assist you. Call Ford Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange.
First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
Welcome back. All right, back to our overtime discussion. But before we do that, let me get a couple of comments in here. Bob said, determine the winner of on the statistics of the game. Take the top 50 plays of each team, predetermine 5 offensive, 5 defensive stats, and and the better team wins.
Oh, God, that's
that
awesome.
don't do anything for the audience. That's why they won't do that,
moly.
Bob. And it makes sense.
That is analytical. Now, that's awesome.
Richie said, I'll say this, with Kansas City-Buffalo game, if they played normal overtimes, their game could have been 152 to 145. Yeah, that was pretty impressive. And I'm going to tell you what bothers me about that in just a second. Todd said the best meme he saw was the playoffs have been canceled, moving to the best of 7 between the Chiefs and the Bills. Read an article that the Bills voted against changing the overtime rule in 2010, 19, and 21. Yeah. I like college rule, but move it to the 50 for the pros. Here's the thing. If I went to a college-type overtime, here's what I would be. You would get the ball on the 25, first and goal. You got 4 plays to score from the 25. No first downs, because that would speed it up and make it happen. The problem I have with overtime now is like we were talking. I would have squibbed the ball to run some time off the clock. Because if you kick it into the end zone, it comes out to the 25, no time comes off the clock. I would like to see a change like they have time runoffs in the last 2 minutes if there's an injured player or there's a penalty. If you kick it in the end zone or a team fair catches it, you lose 4 seconds. You lose 4 seconds.
Either way, yeah.
Either way, it don't matter.
Whoever the advantage
you
is
got,
to,
you got to because some people say, well, it's 13 seconds. Yeah, it was 13 seconds. But Mahomes and them – they can chew up a field in no time.
So what's interesting about the fair catch rule is let's say you're punting out of the end zone. Mm-hmm. I think Belichick did this a couple of years ago. When you fair catch a ball, you get a free kick. So obviously you get your field goal team out there, and these guys can kick it 65, 70 yards now with nobody rushing, and they get a head start. Something to –
I haven't seen that.
No, but what I'm saying is you get a free kick no matter what. So I don't know.
Yeah, my wife said don't care what to come up with, but the Bills should have gotten a shot. Each team, and that comes up every year, and this one really came up and hurt based on how hard a game that was.
Yeah,
to play that much and you didn't get that final shot. in overtime.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think too, Laney, maybe one solution is just cut the clock off.
Yeah,
and let's play it.
Well, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm saying. Let's just play it. Okay. Yeah, you take it down. You get the opportunity. You get the opportunity. Just keep going.
Yeah.
Who you decide to take the ball first, you got to defend last.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay. Whoever won the coin toss, the Cowherd's part about what was it he was saying?
He was saying no coin toss.
No coin toss.
The visiting team gets the choice.
Yeah, I don't like that because they're basing off of one game instead of a whole year body of work, and that's what earned that team that home field advantage. That's the only argument I have with that. I don't think it's a bad idea. I'm saying that's just kind of the part of it that may rub me wrong, right, on that. Whereas you keep the coin toss. If you take the ball, you got to defend last.
The biggest thing, and I think what you saw in the games, and one of the reasons I think that Green Bay fell short is all the other quarterbacks are willing to take chances and push it. They don't get conservative.
Right.
Now, I got one more thing.
Okay.
Andrew said that he saw Newton Conover free kick a time or two in the early 2000s.
Yeah. Nicky called fair and they called fair catches, and then I believe kicked the field goal. I think
now,
that's right.
I'm gonna give you this one from a defensive standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I hate prevent. I always have.
Oh yeah,
and especially in the NFL because it's not a challenge.
Well,
to
defense is
today's
mindset. That's the problem with prevent.
I've always said that when you get into that situation, you have got to be just as aggressive. If you get passive, and that's what you get passive as trying to prevent the worst thing from happening, you become non-aggressive. You become, I think, lackadaisical because I just got to keep it in front of me. I just got to keep it in front of me. And I just don't think it's a good way to go.
Yeah, you actually increase the risk of something happening.
Yes.
Versus,
and you're willing to give up X amount.
That's what I'm saying. You actually increase the risk of many more things happening than the ultimate thing happening by not, and there's a fine line between it. We talk about prevent, and, let's just give an example with high school kids. We go in our what we call 55-44 look, where our tackles, we run a 3-4 base, okay, where our tackles are in 5 techniques, outside shoulder of the tackles, right? And then the nose is head, let's say head up. And our outside backers are sprinting to the flat. Our inside backers, unless I'm sending one of them, are getting to the intermediate hook curl zone. And then we got 4 guys across the back. That doesn't mean they're staying 25, 30 yards deep. That means they're still playing their zone, but aggressive attack style football within that zone with backup, as the ball's in the air with the other, with the 2 guys going deep, whatever. I'm just giving an example. The worst thing I think you can do is do what, and Belichick admitted this, later, is put Gronk back there like he did 3 or 4 years ago, at the end of the game against Miami.
Yeah.
And try to your point, try to stop it. And then you see, he admitted
trying to
we
stop
should
the
have
Hail
played
Mary,
defense.
Basically.
And then the backside of that is what happened in the games that we saw where the players got beat deep, both times. Well, why is he not back there? Listen, you can run, what they call, man 2. You can run man underneath and 2 deep or even 3 deep or 4 deep and just match it up across with that and play. I mean, there's things you could do. They had a major breakdown. Major. It wasn't about that. It wasn't about Cooper Kupp getting open.
Everybody was open. There were so many receivers open.
That was my point.
How do you do that when you're in that kind of defense?
Because you can't play defense in the NFL. You have to play patty cake with receivers.
Well, I know.
My point is they've catered the game to the offense so much that it's so hard to play defense now. You can't hit anybody. If you do, it's just insane.
Now here's Andrew. I agree with the overtime change needing to happen as well. However, they did give the Bills 4 quarters to get it done, and they did not. But they gave the Chiefs 5 quarters to get it done, and they did.
Yeah, no,
because they got 4 and they got an extra one.
There's a lot of different ways. What Andrew's talking about, there's a lot of different ways to look at this, right? And that's where they've got to have fan engagement in some of these rules because, if there's no audience, there's no continual product. And so they really need to take a listen and not bury their head in the sand. Take a good, strong listen to the voices that are out there, especially people that are consistent viewers of football, like obviously our people here that are chiming in and really listen to what people are trying to tell them. A lot of times it's I know better because I'm this. The adults are
and
I don't know,
and the
man.
ultimate
Whatever.
comment. Well, we've always done it this way. That's the one that.
Yeah, I got told that one time. I said, that's why y'all have always lost. I didn't make any friends
I can't
first
deal
week
with
I was
that.
there.
No,
I said, this is why we're changing it.
Cannot deal with that.
That's when I was a little bit younger.
Adam said play it like
nicer.
a fifth quarter, maybe 7-8 minutes. Well, it is 10 minutes now, but they just
Yeah,
you got to get away from the clock.
Not Adam's point. I
Yeah.
know what he's saying.
Yeah.
But I just think, like I said, if we just get away from the clock at all and just have your play clock.
Because you got to have a winner.
Right.
When
That's
it's
what I'm saying.
postseason, you got to have a winner.
Right. Yeah, and let me tell you this. I think, again, you kick off the ball in the end zone, they bring it out 25. First snap, shotgun, shoots by its head. Defense scoops and scores. Ball game. You say, well, the offense didn't have it. Yeah, everybody had opportunity.
That's
You
different.
see what I'm saying?
That's
No,
different.
but
They touched the ball.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm getting at.
yeah.
So, we can't do, either or this or that without having the understanding that if you receive the ball, you have to defend last. If that ball goes by you, then you're defending and trying not to
That's
score.
correct.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So need to be real clear about where we're going with that.
That would
Yeah.
even come up.
Right.
Richie said, I've always said a prevent defense prevents you from winning. Stay with
Richie
what you
is
got.
right.
You're there.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Bob said St. Stephen's did that versus Hickory in 2010, and their kid nailed a 57-yard field goal off a kicking tee to score. Well, now, just as a side note here, I've always said in any level, whether it's college or pro or whatever, if you can kick it through the end zone from a kickoff, you need to get some points out of that. You need to get some points out of that.
You're like Canada, right? You get like, was it Canadian football? If you fair catch, you give up a point.
I don't know.
Something like that. Isn't
I
that
just
right?
know. Where do they kick from? The 40 or 35?
In high school,
No,
from
no,
the 40.
in the pros.
Oh, I think the 30 now, don't they?
Well, from 30 or 35, if you can kick it from there, from the 30, that's an 80-yard field goal if you hit it.
Right.
That's 70 in the field, 10 in the end zone. You hit an 80-yarder, you need to get rewarded for that. And I don't even like kicking.
Have the dude coming out and go like this and say, you know what I'm talking about, Australia rules football?
Yeah.
When they come on ESPN, that guy comes out wearing that Panama Jack outfit,
yeah.
and he stands there and that ball goes through there and he comes out and he goes, gives him
Did
that.
you see?
Oh,
did
my
you
God,
see?
dude, it's great stuff. Great stuff.
The news, the press conference with Joe Burrow, where when he talked to his kicker, and I can't remember his name, and he looked at him and says, "Well, looks like we're going to the AFC Championship game." That's confidence right there, baby.
That's what I'm saying. I like him. I like him a lot. Just
Brandon said back in arena ball days they called it an Uno, and you got a point.
And you got a point, right.
Yeah, but that's a short field.
Brandon, do you remember if it, like in CFL, if they do like the fair catch, because the field is so wide, I believe, that they give the other team a point if you fair catch a ball? So kind of to Lanny's point a while ago about time running off, I think in the Canadian Football League, that if you do any kind of fair catch, anything at all, it's a point for the other. I
don't like fair catch.
Yeah.
If you get a fair catch, just take the kicking out of the game.
Well, I do.
Okay. Well, that's fine.
I do like it. It's
okay.
yeah. I mean, I do.
I'm gonna go off on you. I just don't.
No. I'm just saying that it's just.
I don't like field goals. I don't like kickoffs.
I know you don't like field
punts.
goals. I know you don't like field goals.
I want to see them play. I just want to see them play.
Well, the punting thing, it may work not punting in high school football, but it didn't work for that guy in college very much. Boy, was it down at Presbyterian?
yeah, Presbyterian.
He said, we don't punt.
We don't punt. Yeah.
We go for 2 every time.
Yeah.
Well, in college football, you better kick some field goals.
Brandon's not familiar with CFL.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying.
Richie, look that up.
Richie,
look that up. Richie's our stat guy. Look that up, Richie.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what it is. Let's see. So, I don't know. I just think it needs to be tweaked a little bit.
It will be.
And I told you before, I'm completely okay because of the length of the kicks that you're getting, unless you're going to give these guys something for kicking a field goal off the tee from the 30. Take the kickoff out. You get the ball on the 25. Your onside kick would be as the receiving team, you get the ball on your 25, and it's 4th and 15. If you convert, you keep it. If you don't, it's their ball.
Well, there's a couple things, too, that you can do to keep balls from traveling so far. You can manipulate the ball much like Major League Baseball has. If
you're not sure, ask Tommy.
Well,
I saw him mention that.
But they're constantly saying, well, back the field up, make it wider, make it longer, do this. I think you can change some of the variables inside that will, because players are going to adapt to the surface and the environment. Mm-hmm. They're going to up their level skills. Like you talk about years ago, taking the NBA to 11 feet, the basket to 10-6 or 11 feet. Okay, but they're just going to jump up there and dunk that too. They're going to adapt to that. Mm-hmm. I mean, it takes a little while, but they're going to do it.
Now, if you need a good laugh, I'm going to, before they move the extra point back to the 35.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you my idea. This is when I was at ESPN Charlotte.
All right.
And my boys laughed at me for my idea, okay?
Okay.
In arena football, you got that real narrow goalpost,
yep.
Okay? My idea was, instead of moving the ball back, I wanted a moving goalpost width to where if you were inside the 10, that bad boy was tight. For every 5 yards you went back, you widened it till you got what the normal was. Because that just added a whole lot more, to it. Now, I did like the change in the NFL when they changed it that, and I wish everybody did this, wherever you attempt, the line of scrimmage you attempt the field goal from, if you don't convert, the other team gets the ball there. In high school, it comes out to the 20.
If it goes into the end zone.
Yeah. Comes out to the 20. Yeah, well, it's a fair ball still inside.
Right,
yeah.
Because in high school, what people don't know is when I was coaching the middle school team 3 or 4 years ago, we still working on snapping and punting and things like that. We didn't do it very well, so I just took the field goal team out there. Well, the first time I did that, we were like on our own 25. And, of course, the maiden faithful. I mean, I've been coaching football for 25 years at that point. And you had thought that the middle school dads had lost their minds. They're going to get the ball back there. I just finally turned around and said, boys,
I got this.
Watch. If you got any questions after it, we'll address it. Just what? Relax. And, of course, our kicker, we angle kicked. The ball went out of bounds about the 40 on the other side. They're going to get the ball to 25. No. It's at the 40, bro.
Yeah, it went out of bounds.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, you only know what you know. Hell, there's one point I didn't know that either.
I understand.
Whatever.
Yeah, no.
Fun stuff, though. Had a good time.
Bob said, I don't care how many rules get changed, just make it the same for both teams. Yep. And that's part of the problem. Andrew said back it up to the 20 if you want more return action. I don't know what the answer is for that one. Richie said quick look shows no fair catch rule in the CFL. It's not allowed. That's what I was thinking. If the receiving team does not play the ball, the players behind the kicker can attempt to retrieve the ball like a kickoff and advance the ball. Richie said the single point is awarded to the kicking team misses a field goal and the ball goes in the end zone and the defense does not return the ball out of the end zone.
Gotcha. Okay. So that's where the single point comes from. Got it.
CFL's got a lot going on. I don't
12
like
players,
I don't
a lot of
like
motions.
I don't like the 12. I don't like the 20-yard deep.
Well, they have to. The field's too wide.
I know. But
it's just crazy.
I love the multiple motions.
Oh, yeah.
I absolutely love that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Link said they do not want returns in the NFL. That's correct because of
no,
safety.
he's right. He's right.
No,
yeah. It's play,
Why not just put the ball in the 30 and not have kickoff? I said the 25. That's what I said, Link.
I like the AAF. Was it?
Yes.
We used to watch that.
That's what they did. Yeah. And that's where they came up with the onside. That was the rule. That was the one rule from that spring league that I thought should have definitely been put in the NFL.
It was good.
Now, the teams that carry a kicker and a field goal guy, the kicker loses his job. There's no place for kickoffs in the league anymore because of the safety issue. They've watered it down so much, you just watch the guy kick it off.
Well, the
unless
other
you're going to give him a point for going through the end zone.
The problem is
the
the problem. The other thing you can do is you can move the receiving team up where they don't have 10 yards of a head start, from the kicking team, right? Mm-hmm. You can move them up to press. That'll slow some of that down.
I hadn't thought about that.
Well, I mean, again,
I told
nobody wants to have any discussions at a higher level on these things, because it's the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
You can't just talk about safe. It's kind of like high school football. Oh, it's so hot out there. We can't have our players, dressed out in full gear on this day, but yet on game day it could be 10 times hotter than it was the day before, and you couldn't do anything, but you're still playing. So you can't prep for the moment that you're playing because it's a safety issue, but you can play in the moment. It's talking out of both sides of the mouth.
Oh, yeah. Richie said the kicking team misses a field goal or punts the football and the ball goes through the end zone and out of bounds without being touched. There is also a point awarded. I'll tell one quick story and I'll take a break. I hated kickoff return team. I was on back in the day, okay, we did 5, 4, and 2. And the 4 was the small wall just in front of the two back guys.
Right.
Okay, we were deep. Right. So sometimes I was in that 4 wall. So sometimes I actually got to catch one and run it. Okay,
right. Fantastic.
But the hardest I've ever been hit in my life of anybody was the last game of my senior season against Cherryville against James Devine, John Devine's younger brother. Okay.
All right.
James was relentless. It was a full sprint. He had no intentions of tackling anybody, and we're good friends. He wanted to hit you to where you did not remember what just happened, and he did because he was a big boy too.
Right.
He would be in a dead sprint, and I don't know if I was his assignment. I don't know what it was.
I'm sure you were.
I have never been hit so hard in my life. You take a 220-pound man full speed
on
a 40-yard sprint, and all you're doing is backing up. You weren't moving forward. You're backing up, kind of waiting, for your ball carrier to say go. Never liked it, even though I got to run it a few times.
Well, but those are guys that have no regard for the other person's safety, right?
Correct.
So maybe then instead of standing there hitting him straight up, you just fall down. I'm not saying you hurt anybody, but if they
I'd have to go to sidelines
or
then
run
I'd
over
get
to the other
down.
side.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you should do anything illegal, but at the same time, you're expected to play by the rules and die.
Obviously,
ain't going to happen.
Obviously, you don't know how Coach Bird coached. We'll take a break.
No, I don't.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit MooneyInsurance.com.
Times convenience stores are more than convenient. They're your neighborhood store, your store. With locations in Lincoln, Catawba, Gaston, Iredell, and Mecklenburg counties, there's one near you. Times convenience stores have the right items at the right price, from snacks, cold drinks, and light meals from the grill, and there's always a special to save you time and money. Times has what you need. Times convenience stores, there's one near you. Regardless of where you're going, there's one on your way. Remember, there's always time to stop by Times. Have you thought about when you would like to retire? One of your major assets is planning for retirement is time, and you lose a little of it each day. The longer you wait to start accumulating capital for retirement, the harder it's going to be. How should you plan for retirement? Start by calculating approximately how much capital you will need at retirement, and then estimate how much you will have to put away each year. Finally, carefully choose the investments in which you will invest. Stiefel Nicholas can assist you. Call Fort Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stiefel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
In the best of times, no one is more deserving of every opportunity, encouragement, and support than the youth in our communities. Parents, teachers, coaches, and sponsors struggle to stretch their budgets to continue help. Communities need a team effort. Times Oil Corporation, a longtime member of the community, established the Times Educational Alliance Mission, or Team Foundation. Since 2011, over $125,000 in grants have been donated in the community. Times Oil and the Team Foundation are proud to be community partners.
And welcome back. About to wind up here on the 25th of January.
It's amazing.
In case you didn't know, 11 months till Christmas.
Ready to go.
Yeah, there you go.
Just hear those sleigh bells.
Ringling, ting, ting, tingling. There you go. We were talking during the break, how do we fix this? And what I'm saying, how do we fix this? What happened should have not have happened with the level of athletes that are on the field in that short a time period. So we were talking, how do you fix it? Do you make the field bigger? Do you make the field smaller? And Four had a great point, but it's not an option, because that would be bring the game back to being more physical. And they're not. I'm not so sure. I'm not completely convinced that all the changes that were allowed offensively were to protect players as much as it was to increase viewership because of generating more offense.
But everything's done in the guise of protection.
I know.
Nobility. You know, I talk about nobility all the time.
Now,
there it is.
When you had this conversation with Kiever about all the rules to protect quarterbacks, he said, but you see how dismal it is if you get one of your star quarterbacks knocked out and the player that comes in is not anywhere close. You don't have anybody watching that. That's why they want to protect the quarterback.
Absolutely. And David's right. But, the counter argument to that is, well, there's a lot of rules put in place so that quarterback can be that dynamic. Mm-hmm. The defensive player is not allowed to do anything beyond 5 yards. Now, how many times this weekend did you see them both locked up 25 and 30 yards down the field, and then the ball thrown was an incomplete pass, no call?
Incidental contact.
But they're both got hands on waiting for the ball.
But you know why?
Like this.
Do you know why? How they – and Link, you correct me if I'm wrong here. What they do is they make it an objective call. Did one player or the other gain an advantage?
Yeah, well, that's fine. But what do the rules state? The rules state you cannot contact. So if the offensive player does, then, well, if he engages it, we're going to allow him to break the rule. And then the defensive player engaged. Now they've both broken them, and now we're just going to see if there was an advantage game by either one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means. Okay, what that means is there's not clarity. And it puts – people talk about officiating. You talk about putting pressure on people. It's kind of like the walk in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
the hop step,
the Euro step.
You can call it, well, they have to make up names for it. Inappropriate or illegal activity, all right, is given names to try to make it more calm and personal and acceptable. Anything that goes on that has a name to it is because they're trying to make
as an excuse
to make the way you feel about it.
Yeah.
All right, instead
more
of
palatable.
what it really is.
You make it more
They're
palatable.
trying to humanize the behavior.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
But that's, hey, you know what? That's where we are.
That's correct. That's exactly where
That's
we are.
where we are. And that's and basically that's the problem. You know, when you have an umpire, all right, in baseball, and you figure out after the second inning, third inning what their zone is, they're normally pretty good with that zone the rest of the game. Mm-hmm. Okay? And when they're not in the 8th or 9th inning, you get a little chirpy, and they know that they missed a couple. And they're human. They're going to do that. Right. Just like I've made terrible calls, sending people, stealing people, bunting, all the, whatever, okay? But, the fact of the matter is, in NFL football, you can't touch after 5 yards, but there's a tremendous amount going on. And then people want to complain about, well, he can't do this, he can't do that. What game was a couple years ago when the receiver, it was the Saints, when he got hit before the ball got there and it wasn't reviewable, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
that
go
was
back
one where that cost them from advancing.
No, that's right. But go back like 10 plays where the receiver pushed off. Mm-hmm. Not that same guy, but a receiver pushed off and was able to catch the ball and get certain field position.
It's what I've said. It's the consistency. You got to be consistent.
And I'm not blaming the umpires for that.
Going back to your baseball,
been put in a tough situation.
Going back to your baseball analogy, that's the problem I've always had, and why I kind of like the robotic strike zone is because it won't move. It may miss some, but it won't move. Yeah. I get bothered by watching baseball when I watch the strike zone change.
Right.
Pitchers use the first inning to figure out where the corners, how much are you giving, what are you not giving, and then they will work inside of that.
So just like NFL football, and just like basketball with the Euro step, which means the legal walk for 3 and 4 steps, that's where the human engagement element comes in. And if you don't – What are all great CEOs? They're great entertainers,
right?
Because they keep people engaged. People that like them and don't like them, they keep them both engaged. That is the whole point. That's why I don't think you'll see a lot of rule changes. The more that Major League Baseball employs and implores machines, people that run them, computers, whatever you want to call them, okay, the less interaction they're going to have with their fan base, and the less it's going to, the less things are going to be attractive. And everything is done to the efficiency of the hitter, all right, because the pitchers are so dominant and powerful. Mm-hmm. Every rule, that's why the strike zone thing's coming in, so the hitters can dial in and launch home runs. It has nothing to do with anything. The reason you have to play small ball up until you get to that point, even through college baseball now, is because the inefficiencies of strike zones.
Well, let me.
That's okay. That's okay. You just adapt to the game.
Andrew makes a great point. He said, "I agree with trying to better any game. However, if you remove all human error, it removes a variable that honestly brings a ton of excitement."
That's what I'm talking about.
The problem is when it's not consistent. That's the problem that I have when it's not consistent.
Right.
And I'm gonna scroll back and give you a couple of comments here, Ronnie said there's so much holding by the offense as by the defense, but the defense gets caught.
He's talking about it, yeah. That's a good point.
Milton said when Brady got his mouth busted and his unsportsmanlike penalty, Von Miller should have been flagged for targeting.
He should have.
I think the problem was he didn't catch him with the crown. I think he caught him with the front, and that's why he didn't get called.
But it's still head contact. I think that's
I agree.
why.
I agree.
I think that's why, and Milton, I think that's right. You and Link just chime in if you don't mind. Make sure that's right. But I thought it should have been too. But again, Brady doesn't do a lot of griping. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Like his first unsportsmanlike.
Unless something is wrong.
I had one a year. Coaching, sorry.
But you know what I mean. Yeah. I mean, as much as people like or dislike him, the guy plays. And he stays focused, focused on the game. And that, when there's something like that goes on, then then the likelihood of something not being right. Mm-hmm. It's kind of the real quiet person. When they speak out, you probably need to listen.
Yeah.
It's kind of, again, just relative.
Link said Michael Irvin pushed off on every play the only way he ever got open.
That's right.
And it
that's
was
right.
never called.
Yeah.
Well, you
That's
see that now.
Yeah.
And here again, maybe they're not giving Tommy all the calls now because there are quarterbacks that got calls that other quarterbacks didn't get, and they would kind of write it off. Well, I was never giving a call for drawing a charge when I played basketball.
Right, because you were too big.
Yes.
That's why.
But if I got hit, if I got squared up and hit, it was a charge. Even if I didn't go down, it was a charge.
Sure.
But you wouldn't get it. Those are the calls that I don't like.
Yeah.
Let's see. Link said the NFL screwed up the catch for every level.
What does that mean?
Because of the way the continuation of the movement, you got to have the ball control, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're saying, isn't it, Lincoln? Because they've made it so complicated that nobody can really distinguish and say what a catch is.
Well, I think the Steelers had a touchdown, years ago, when Heath Miller, I think, was over the line, and then after he was scored and hit the ground or whatever, then the ball came out, whatever. I just remember the play. And then, of course, Belichick threw the challenge flag, and they reviewed it, and under the rules, he was right. It was not a completed catch. Now, the next year it was. They had to change that rule. But you know what I'm saying? They're always looking at adapting, so I get it.
And here's the thing, Lincoln, that is exactly what I'm saying. Okay. Possession of the ball in the end zone is a touchdown. And the reason is, excuse me, you have to go through all of this analysis on a catch.
Right.
But if you're a running back and you nudge that thing across the line and then it falls out of your hands, that's a touchdown.
That is
Even
correct.
if it was a split second. That means that you're interpreting a touchdown on two different ways. If it was a touchdown for that split second and you caught the ball in the end zone for a split second, it should be a touchdown. Yeah. It shouldn't be going through the thing. Ronnie, the review process, and this is my only thing, and I say this all the time. Ronnie said he likes the review process.
Yes.
I like the review process as long as every play is reviewable. You can't say this is not reviewable. That's not considered one of our reviewable plays.
That's when it's not right.
You can't.
When everybody at home sees it's not right.
But you can't do it.
That's the way you interpret that. If everybody at home or anybody at home, within reason, says, wait a minute, this is not right. Well, I'm sorry, but it's not a reviewable play under the rules. Maybe it needs to be. Maybe you need to add that one on.
Yeah. Well, that's why I've said
I don't know.
Ronnie, you're exactly right. Ronnie said, let's face it, NFL's a business, not a sport.
Completely understand.
It's entertainment.
And what are we doing? We're engaged in talking about it, and that's the whole goal.
Yeah. There's too much money involved. That's exactly right, too. Yeah. I just, Link said the NFL officials used to be the very best, not any longer. And I think it's because of the way they've kind of screwed with the rules. It makes them hard for them to do their job to a point.
Well, I think, too, maybe the standards have been lowered a little bit. And any time you do that, or maybe the expectations have been lowered some. And when you lower expectation, then the standard gets, typically gets lowered, not because they're not trying to do a good job, because that's just a natural order of things, right? It's all about mindset, okay? Are you going to be the kind of official based on the environment that you're in years and years ago when they didn't have review that you've got to get every play right and you're going to do everything you can do, or are you going to swallow the whistle now and say, I'm going to let it play out and then we'll review it? And you know what I'm saying? That's kind of why I'm not saying right or wrong. I'm saying that's the natural order of things. And that's the sacrifice and the things you give up for quality, for the convenience of technology.
I'm okay with swallowing the whistle as long as every play is reviewable. It's when you swallow the play.
And I don't like that either. I just don't.
I've said over and over, I like the college game of review because there's a guy up there that watches every play, and he buzzes down. He buzzes down. Yeah. That's the way it should be because then everything's on the table. Even if they miss a targeting, they miss anything, he buzzes down. All right, we got to go. Have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow.